Salom mucha, hoş omedit, and welcome to this new live stream by Las Plumas de Simur. My name is Plumas and I'm going to be your host for the afternoon. I must apologize in advance for my voice because I am not sick, but it's getting there. It's either getting there or exiting there, but definitely a there. There's a there in the question. So you might notice that I'm speaking a tad softly than before, and also closer to the microphone because I don't want to shout. And also I am delighted to show you something that I haven't yet shown on camera because, well, actually there's not a reasoning behind me not showing it, and I just didn't. And this is a mug, but it's not any mug. It's a mug made by my incredible vizier, No Soy Rose, and the person that loves me dearly. And more importantly, he loves me and he knows me, because on the side you can spot either Queen, or not either, you can spot Queen Simurg over here, and it says keep calm and Eustachio. And if you don't know who Eustachio is, you might be slightly new to the channel. If it is your wish, you could ask me on the comments, and I would love to answer the questions, because any time is a good time for talking about Eustachio, and it is him over here. And yes, if it looks familiar to you, and if this is an iconography you've previously connected to Simurg, or let's just say it, Senmorv, you are unfortunately not correct. It doesn't matter because we're here to learn, but this is not Senmorv, and it is not Simurg, absolutely not. Therefore, it is Eustachio. Eustachio is the word we use in this channel to talk about this creature. And on the other side, there is a mixture between two of my favorite things in the entire world. The first one being Venom from Marvel's universe. Venom, the nemesis of Spider-Man. It has taken me, I've never thought I would be introducing Venom to anyone, because I think his personality and his character has enough of entity as if needed any. He doesn't require any introduction, but it is Venom from the superhero series Spider-Man, and the best villain ever created, if you ask me. But Venom is topped by, it's because of the light, you can see it. Allow me to just take it down a notch. Oh my god, that lighting is horrible, but you can see that Venom is not himself, because this is a pelican wearing an eye mask. This is as preposterous as it is magnificent, and the pelican is singing a very famous tune, because the name for Venom in Spanish translates as veneno, and veneno is also the name and the lyrics to a very famous song that would translate something along the lines of "Give me venom, I want to die," and that is the lyrics that the pelican is screaming into the world. And I am not using that one to drink tea. Here's my tea. Here's my cuppa. I am using this one to drink water, because I used to have a Venom cup. If you are not new to these places, if you've been here a while, excuse me, you would remember the Venom cup. However, I'm not drinking on it that much because it was made of plastic, and turns out that is not as healthy as I would like it to be. And it's enough. It's done its part, and I am very sorry and very sad that I had to bear the cup goodbye, and I had to bid it farewell. But alas, we ought to move forward. And this, when I said that I was not drinking, when I mentioned to No Soy Rose that I was not drinking from that cup anymore, this is the solution he came up with. And I loved it, because he is a dear person to my heart. And also, and I really like the cup, like, zero jokes, I love it. So you're going to see me taking a little sips from it, because, again, my throat is... I was going to say, as a direct translation from Spanish, I wanted to say irritated, but I don't think that's the word you use. Or is it? You imagine my throat is irritated. She is absolutely done with your nonsense. Anyhow, welcome back to the mountain, and welcome back to a very interesting topic that I am delightful to bring, because first of all, this was not my idea. It was the idea of Salam. Speaking of the devil, are you in the visitor car? I just showed up your, I just showcased your beautiful mug. You know, the Eustachios mug, the Veneno mug. And this is my water mug now. I was going to say that today we are dealing with a topic that is incredibly interesting, and it was not my idea. It was my patron's idea, because if you support this project on Patreon, you get to vote what is coming next in following live streams. And my patrons chose very, very interestingly and wisely, they chose this topic, which is fashion in the Fertile Crescent. And honestly, this is one of the topics I enjoy the most. And I know I'm quite an enthusiastic person and passionate about almost everything I do. It's the way I find more comfortable about life. But what I mean with this being a favorite topic or a special topic for me is that it's a topic I know legit nothing about. Nothing, absolutely nothing, because I've never paid attention to that side of history or art history. Yes, of course, I assumed when I was studying art history of the Fertile Crescent back in the day, I assumed people would not be, going about naked. They would dress. But I never gave dress, footwear, accessories, and etc. the importance they really have. Because in the Fertile Crescent, it was much more than just clothes. It was something beyond practical. It was something beyond being covered in case of the rain or a cooler weather. And it showed me so much. I've learned so much preparing this script, and this is the kind of script I really enjoy, because I had the time to dedicate, and I had the time to write and type and search for different sources, and I loved it. And I'm hoping to do my best job in transmitting how much this topic is fascinating, because if you think about it, clothes are something that accompany humanity from the very beginning. First, and I'm going to mention that word notoriously often in this topic, because practicity is a matter of being practical. I don't want to be cold. I don't want to be scratched by the woods and weeds and bushes outside. I don't want to be wet. I don't want to be exposed to the elements, because you would think that the rain and the snow and the wind are the ones to be protected against, but the sun is something to be protected against too. Please wear your sunscreen. This is Pelican Mom. See, the pelicans all make sense. This is the Pelican Mama. This is Mama Pelicano telling you to please, one, stay hydrated, and I'm going to give out an example, setting the example for you. First, stay hydrated. Second, please wear your sunscreen. It doesn't matter if you don't go outside. Please do wear your sunscreen. Your skin will appreciate the thought. And it's something that connects humanity to a wider level. And it's also ingrained and attached to Salam Yersey. Hi, it's very good to see you here. I'm honored that you made it. Because I think this is the first time you come by, although I cannot sweat on that. But anywho, if it's not the first time, welcome back. If it is indeed the first time, Salam and Khosh Umadi, welcome to the mountain. And I just keep calling it the mountain, and I really think nobody gets the reference, but I don't care, because again, my mountain. Okay, you will have to stick around for a little bit more if you want to know what the mountain thing is. What was I saying? This part is not scripted and is so crystal clear. Oh yeah, it's something. Clothes is something that is intertwined with humanity and society, far beyond and far wider than we could expect and imagine. Because even today, in today's modern society, clothes and a way the person is dressed grant such a first impression information. It's first-hand information about the person we have in front. And allow me to explain it to you with a very, very dumb example. but truthfully nonetheless. If you see that I wanted to be, since we were talking about fashion, I wanted to be a little bit more dressed up, and I love this sweater. This is like the combination of these beige and black is one of my favorites. However, one in here is still the person who she is, and therefore if you see me with this, maybe not many thoughts will pop around, but underneath I am wearing my Jack Skellington t-shirt. Why? Because a Jack Skellington is always dear to my heart. If you see me wearing a Jack Skellington t-shirt and you don't know me, you could correctly guess that I am a fan of Tim Burton's movies and films, and particularly that I like The Nightmare Before Christmas. Again, you would be absolutely correct. My clothes are a way of expressing my likenesses. Hello, bitches! Hello. Aye, aye, Captain. My clothes are a way of expressing how I like my likes and the things I'm comfortable with and the things that make me feel pretty, comfortable, practical. Again, that is my absolute favorite word for today's stream. And this is very important. And again, this is not something we've come up with in the 21st century. We didn't absolutely invent fashion in nowadays society. That being my first statement. And I also wanted to talk about this because when sharing, oh my God, the picture, I have it already. I wanted to show you this. I want to show you this as the first image because this is a picture taken at the Irakli House of Fashion because it was a party to commemorate the Fataya Crescent's monuments and historical heritage. And this is something I love and absolutely adore because these people did not attempt to recreate what the society of the Fataya Crescent would be wearing, meaning that this is not a historically accurate depiction of the clothes and garments of the time. Rather, what they did is portray this historical heritage and this art historical heritage via their clothes. And let's take, for a moment, for example, the person, sorry, I need to find which picture. So many images, by the way, like so many. I'm very happy about that, but so many. Let's just take this woman wearing a wings of a lamasu as fake sleeves. Incredible, because she is mimicking the magnificent gates of, and you can enter here, Nineveh, Persepolis, even Ashur, Babylonia, in any other palace that has Dur-Sharokin, of course, and any other palace that has ever had a Lamassu monumental entrance. The Lamassu is integrated in the dress in a way that the beard goes down to the very, very floor. And you also have next to her my personal favorite, which is a woman wearing this blue surcoat mimicking the gates of Ishtar. If the look of this deep indigo dark blue was familiar, it's because exactly this is the gate. This is inspired by the gate of Ishtar. You can even see the striding dragons or mushushu over there. And the headpiece she's wearing is a real headpiece. That one, it is inspired by historical garments, although not from the Fataya Crescent, rather from the East Wards territories, much more like this is something that Iranian nobility would wear. I'm thinking about the Mada and the Parsa especially, but not the only, like the Sogdians and the Sak. No, not the Saka though, not the Saka. The Sogdians definitely adopted the courtly ways and wore something along the lines of it. But that is a real piece. Likewise, it is a real piece that headdress these women is wearing, because that with a crown of horns and these aura of sunlight, this is a real headpiece worn by Inanna or Ishtar, the goddess of war, love, beauty, and so many more things, because she is what's the word I'm looking for here? Multifaceted. She's indeed multifaceted. And salam! How are you, Berto? You are here for the cool headpieces. This one's a must. Absolutely. I'm gonna take a sip. if you wanted to use your tea point to make me drink water, this is definitely the stream I would be the most grateful about. If you do, thank you. I was saying that this is a real headpiece as worn by Inanna in multiple seals because, first of all, the horns. We will talk about it a little bit further, but the horns are those that the children of An, the sky deity, have in the seals and the reliefs because that signals them as children and offspring of the sky deity. However, the rest of the dress, the first time I saw this, I thought it could be inspired, the kulu, made me miss, but I thought it would be inspired by the standard of Ur. However, upon further observation, and also because my Bachar at Discord told me this is inspired by the Hammurabi Code, at least one of the copies of the Hammurabi Code, not the one at the Louvre, which is like the most famous, the obsidian one, but other copies of the Hammurabi Code. And this use of fashion as a way of representing historical heritage is something I non-ironically deem fantastic, because fashion is an expression. We are fortunate enough in this 21st century that we can afford for fashion being a way of us expressing ourselves. And in this moment, what these people are doing is highlighting the importance of historical heritage and historical monuments and pieces via their clothes. They could have gone for a much more historically accurate garment, yet they chose to give it an interpretation and took it a little bit further in more like a couture style. And you might think this is, horrendous. You would be entirely in the right to do so, but I think is a fantastic take on how to represent history and art history via fashion. And to me, there's multiple pictures of these dresses, by the way. I couldn't find the date for this picture that I'm showing to you, but upon use a quick search on Google, using Google Lens and so, I've seen other people wearing the same dresses, and that makes me think or wonder that they were made for a special occasion, or that this is something that people revisit often, at least once a year. I don't know. Any further information you have on the subject, please tell me, make it reach me, because I'm very interested in knowing who made this. The page I consulted, sadly, was in Arabic, and I don't speak, let alone read Arabic anymore. So the Persian in my head has completely kicked out the very remnants of Arabic language that were here. Yeah. Ooh. Salam Sarapi Zazizam, how are you? So many nice people in here. Oh, Bacha, I'm just very happy to be here with you with my awful camionero voice. Lorry driver, truck driver, if you are watching from the States. Salam, Klein, how are you? Is that you being hungry? Is that you screaming hello? Or is that you just doing with your mouth? Any of the answers would be valid. You have the right to do so. Okay, so I think Ice to meet me? Salon Famperia, how are you? Is your favorite gin on the screen? Indeed, it is a gin on the screen, because this is magical, what I did. Just a tiny B question, Klein. Ice to meet me? I am very iced to meet you too, but are you cold? Is this you asking me for a jumper? Because I don't have any, at hand, but I could work on it. Are you cold? Azizam, what is it you're telling me? I don't know how you did it, but it's very cool, that thing with writing upside down. See, the job of the gin. That is the job of the gin. And without further ado, because we've had enough of an introduction, let's just dive right into the meat and potatoes. Smash them, boil them, stick it in a stew. Did you get that reference? I know Humberto has. Humberto, besito para ti. Because I know you're the support in my stupidity, not only in the live streams that you participate in, but also in the live stream that you very kindly come to watch everything. It's because it's very cold and frozen, is it though? It's quite mild what I am right now. It's actually okay. Like, I'm only wearing this sweater, and then underneath it's a t-shirt, so I'm okay. And also I'm having a very warm drink because my throat is a little bit like. I do have a colony of gin living down my throat, unfortunately. Okay. Again, let's dive right into it, because today, Bacha, we are talking about clothing and fashion in the ancient fertile Crescent, which is something that you might think it was not a thing, but definitely is. There exists a tendency to believe that people in the past, be it modern, medieval, or ancient, did behave notoriously differently to us nowadays. However, and this is something we have commented before in this channel, ancient people were just people. Groundbreaking information. They were ancient, but as this beautiful person and this magnificent brain normally says, the ancient were ancient, but not stupid. An incredible sentence by Juan Francisco Jiménez Alcázar. We love you, Juan Fran, like a lot. And yes, the ancient were ancient, but they weren't stupid. And I acknowledge we should not be carried away by presentism. Yes, but I wanted to start this previous reflection because I feel part of my job is making you question how we normally look at history. And what I mean by this is that we, in our existence on the 20th and 21st centuries, repeat it with me, we did not invent fashion. Clothing, headpieces, accessories, and footwear were not only functional and practical in the past, rather, they were an indication of the people's status in society. Clothes have always been first-hand information when encountering someone, as we were seeing with Jack Skellington TC with me, and this is something they knew back in the second millennium before Common Era. I'm going to make a pause and to read what you guys are telling me, because I want to search for something. I want a map. Let's just use this one. Yeah, I want a map. What is that? Plumas Jofes was right. In La Cialda. You received a job offer! Oh my god! That is incredibly exciting! Congratulations, Serapis! That's so good! I'm so happy about that! Okay, but chat, please, a round of tea glasses in the chat, because we have to, like, oh my god, please do. I'm beyond excited. This is a cheers. This is a cheers to you, because you deserve it, Serapis. You do deserve it, and please keep us posted if you want to do that. This is incredible. Like, cheers to you from all of the chat. And me especially. Cheers. Thank you, Humberto Aziz. And by the way, do not think that I ignored your comment. I am very happy that you support all my stupidities and my shenanigans. Any kind of shenanigan that would do. That is a lot of tea. Thank you, Humberto. Okay. As always, may I remind you that speaking about the Fertile Crescent as a loose concept may entail some misunderstandings, because we are talking about millennia in terms of time and multiple and varied ecosystems and cultural hubs. Therefore, not everything I say should be understood as determinant and final. When preparing for this live stream, I did my best effort to signal the proper timing and geographical location for the examples and the pieces. But as per usual, take everything I am saying with a pinch of salt, and do not hesitate to ask any questions. Hopefully I would be able to answer them. And if not, I could find some sources that would educate us all, and hopefully I could point you in the right direction to find said answers. All right then. Shall we begin? And we do begin with this beautiful map of the Fertile Crescent. This Is the butcher the fertile crescent, the fertile crescent my butcher? If this is the first time you hear this mentioned or coined as the fertile crescent, yes, this is Mesopotamia, the land between the two rivers. Why don't I say Mesopotamia? There's not really a particular reason for that. It's just I like geographical terms a tad more than just terms, because Mesopotamia is a concept that fails us sometimes when actually approaching a subject, because sometimes Elam is also included in Mesopotamia, but Elam is far from that. It's eastwards the Fertile Crescent and doesn't touch the two rivers, the Tigris and Euphrates. For some reason, the Medes are also included here. Like Iran, ancient Iran sometimes is smashed and forced to enter this Mesopotamian label, not level. Dyslexia. No. Dyslexia. Now in English too. Because why just not being dyslexic in my mother tongue when I can be dyslexic in the two languages that I speak? Don't answer. Thank you. All right, so yes, the Fertile Crescent is what's known in the sources of as Mesopotamia, the land between the rivers Tigris and Euphrates. Time-wise, and this is a lot, this is ambitious. Time-wise, we will be covering from Sumer to Babylonia, so roughly, and I say roughly, from the 5th millennium before Common Era, when the Uruk period starts, around 4100 before Common Era. And no, I don't remember this. I have every date noted down. And we will be moving to the Assyrians. So the 7th century before Common Era. But let's talk about something as interesting before delving into it. As interesting as context. You know, the importance of the context. That is, if you are new to the channel. And here we like to repeat that we must know very well when and where in order to understand properly why. And that is context. But something even more interesting than that is sources. What do we use to learn about clothing in Mesopotamia? And the answers in here are multiple. We use multiple sources and all of them are colorful and varied. Art, of course. Art plays a major role here, and we can find depictions of clothing on sculptures, on pottery, on reliefs. You're going to see multiple examples in art pieces. We also have clay tablets found in archaeological sites like cities and burials, and the information there tells us about, I'm getting ahead of myself, we'll go back to this idea, but the information there tells us about a textile industry that existed in all early civilizations of the Fertile Crescent. What does that mean? A textile industry means that people were paying attention to being dressed in a proper fashion, in a proper manner. It was not just poof, and that's it. No. And now we are commencing from the beginning. The earliest pieces of clothing humans used were simple animal skins or plant leaves, large plant leaves. The earliest evidence we have for any sort of clothing in wool and animal skin, date back to the Ubaid period, which is between the 6th and the 4th millennia before Common Era. And again, I cannot stress this enough, please, but try use maps. You need to use maps if you are learning history. Even if you're doing this in your spare time, even if this is your hobby, please maps. Mapas. You can see here the Ubaid region colored in dark yellow down below in the map. Allow me to zoom this for you because oh, sorry, I'm gonna take it. There you go. This is the Ubaid region. And this is why maps are important. The clothes were very simple. We're talking about loincloths made from pelts or plants and other simple garments just to cope with the body and escape the cooler weather. Because we need to take into account the surroundings, as we always say. Let us observe the map a bit more. The epicenter of the Ubaid culture is attached to the estuary of both Tigris and Euphrates. And this is a very humid, damp, warm area. Heavier, thicker coats, they would not be required with urgency, since the communities developed their daily activities near the marshes and lakes by the riverbanks. And the lighter the clothing, the better. Maps, the surroundings. And one day, I mean, I've talked about this extensively, but one day I would do a proper live stream about the history of the ecosystem, because it's so important. And allow me to show you this beautiful piece, these figurine of a woman found in Yarim Tepe. This is a piece that I like so much because, again, I didn't know this one. I didn't know this existed, and I've learned so much during the creation, the putting together of the script. This is dated the 5th millennium before Common Era. That is 4,000 something before Common Era. And all the dates are going to be before Common Era, but I still state them in case you get a little bit lost. I understand. It's not a problem. And again, feel free to interrupt me at any point. I always see your messages, and I am happy to sort out your questions. Just because I know there's people here that are very shy, you can make the questions in Spanish. I mean, I can answer them too. Okay, so this is a vessel of a nude woman that also helps us imagining what the normal garments would be like for the Ubaid period. As you can see, she's not covering her breasts, and this dotted inverted triangle here could either be a loincloth or directly her pubis. The curatorial description says the woman is completely naked, but also suggests that the dotted lines could be necklaces or ornamental beads worn around the body as a symbol of status. This was an important lady nonetheless. I suggest that, moreover, the lines encircling her arms and neck could be also adornments like, ribbons or even plaited braided fibers from plants. During the live stream, another butcher proposed that perhaps that dotted line that goes following the structure of her body from the neck, coming to the center of the chest and down to her hips, that could also be a sort of a surcoat, like an over piece worn, and therefore these lines around her arms would be the sleeves. Is also entirely possible. And people ask me, and I don't know, I haven't had the time to look it up yet. They ask me if the belly button was a tattoo, if it was an adornment, or if it was what it was and why it was this big. I have no idea. I know there's decorations for belly buttons, but I don't think the fertile crescent is particularly known because of that. I will have a look into it because, again, I'm not an expert and I don't know. It's an interesting question. And that's the thoughts I wanted to share regarding the curatorial description and also my own thoughts. But there's evidence of looms weaving fabric since the 3000 before Common Era. What is that? So do we know if they use any body paint or tattoos? I wouldn't put my hand on the fire to directly say no. But truth to the matter, I have not read anything of the sorts while researching for the live stream. I want to think, Umberto, that if tattoos were really a thing, they would be present in sources or they would be present in art. And what I could observe and what scholars also observed does not indicate that. This is not me sentencing and stating that there were no tattoos back in the Fertile Crescent. No, but they were not as important. Perhaps in more tribal societies before the Uruk period, they were using tattoos as a society recognition element. I don't know. I haven't read on it in the sources I've consulted, and apparently if they were used, they were not a thing in the, via the upper classes, or like, it was not something that widespread to show status. All the things were like the thing we're going to talk about. Do you like sheep? Because as I was saying, from the start of the 3rd millennium before Common Era, there's evidence in the sources and archaeological sites of looms for weaving. And how did this happen? Very importantly, with the domestication of animals, and especially sheep. With that phenomenon, wool became the most common material for clothing. There is a moment of transition in Sumer by the Uruk period, again for the 400 before Common Era to the 4,100 before Common Era to the 2,900 before Common Era. That's the Uruk period. And in this moment, this transition, loincloths and animal skins and wool started to combine. And this is something I didn't know it existed before I started researching for this. But allow me. May I present to you one of the most curious and peculiar garments I've ever seen. Even earlier than the woolen skirt, there was the net dress. I know from a dear friend, Loca de los Castillos, that this piece of clothing also occurred in ancient Egypt, because the jinn forbid only one human comes up with such a stupid brilliance. The net dress was fitted to the lower body, and then the upper body is bare. And this early type of net dress looks much more similar to a standard textile, and they were not made of fishing nets, but from fibers and plants. We call them the net dress because they mimic the structure, the warp and weft, mimicking the structure of a fishing net. But these were not recycled fishing nets. This was fabric, and these were used from fibers and plants. Although it would be very peculiar, it will be fantastic to learn that. And where do I have this picture? Because, again, so many pictures. No, not you. Oh, yes, this is the stele of Ushumgal. This piece is known as the stele of Ushumgal and is dated around either 2,900 before Common Era, 2,700 before Common Era. Because here we witness the birth of the Mesopotamian piece for excellence, the most famous of them all, named, of course, by our friendly neighbors, the people from Hellas. I am talking, definitely, of course, of the kaunakis, a kilt or skirt, also known, will you look at that, as persis, because possibly the Iranian people also wear it. It looks devilishly comfy, not gonna lie, and I have so many examples of this because these was the piece. This was the piece. Every single one in all the Sumer, Akkad, and Babylonian period wore this. It was a fondo de armario. It was something you ought to have in your assortment of clothes. It didn't matter the status. Where do I have my... So many images that I am losing. Oh, I want to show you this. Sorry, I think I didn't show this one in the Spanish stream. So, sacerdotisa, if you are there, please spare me a thought. This is a net dress being worn. If you see the central image, this is a person wearing the net dress. And I wanted to show you this because I think it's beautiful. This is a seal. And it appeared in the Blau monuments. And again, same dating, 3000/2900 before Common Era, and here you have it, and it's beautiful. But I was looking for the kaunakis, I showed you the Stele of Uzumgal, and I wanted to show you not this one. This is a wee bit later. So many images. I can't help myself. This, here we have it. This is the kaunakis. And it was woven in a tuft pattern, suggesting overlapping petals or feathers or scales, because I remember when I first saw this back when I was in first grade, ages ago, I thought, this looks like a dragon and it's super cool. Because I have two working brain cells, just two, and one of them is obsessed with dragons, so it's very fun living in my head. I also thought I had, I think I'm going to sneeze. You don't need that information, but I do need it. I thought I had another one. It's from a tad... Yeah, there it is. This is a relief of King Urnanche. And this one stated, allow me to... Oh, no soy Ross, thank you so much for this re-subscription. You're simply the best. Thank you. 41 months. 41. 41. Bingo. That is... What can I say? What can it... Thank you. You are the best. And here, Veneno Pelican and me, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you so much. It is for people like you that this can happen. Thank you so much, Nosotros. I was saying, yes, definitely everything's better with dragons, and the kaunakis looks like it's scaly somehow. The skirt was made from sheepskin, and it was worn with the skin turned inside and with the tufts ornamented like a tooth comb over the wool. It was used in the form of a wraparound. If you can see, every single person in this style is wearing a kaunakis, and it was used as a wraparound skirt, tied and worn from the waist, extending to the knees. And this is where what I was saying about clothing being a social informator comes. It really comes at play, because servants and soldiers were the shortest garments, while persons of high status wore longer ones, with the skirt often extending down to the ankles. You can see how the person sitting here is clearly it's a king, and well, a king, an important person, because you don't have a way of knowing he's a king, but he's definitely someone of very high importance in society. I didn't show the map, my bad. This is Sumer. This is what we know as the historical and archaeological era of Sumer. Uruk is the city at this moment, although Lagash and Ur are there. And of course we have Elam, that at this point it is nearby the Tigris, but because of a series of unfortunate events, this won't last long. And if you want to know what I'm talking about, there's a live stream I made about Elam, like a historiographical introduction about Elam. You can find it either on Twitch or on YouTube, because I use YouTube as a library to store all my videos. So yeah, you can find them there. Back to the kaunakis. Where is my kaunakis? I'm going to use this one. I really like it. And the upper part of the body, this was not the image. I remember what I wanted to show you. Not this one. Not this one. Not this one. I'm doing my best to show absolutely everything. Ahí está. I wanted to show you this one because thank you, Nosy Rose. In there you have the link to the video. Thank you so much. And the upper part of the body was either covered with another sheepskin cloak spread across the shoulders, or left bare. In this case, we have a woman Therefore, she is covering only half her body, with one of the breasts being exposed. And it was only around 2500 before coming around the sheepskin garment was replaced by the textile made of woven wool. However, the tough part of the dress was continued in the form of sewing tufts onto the garment or by weaving loops into the fabric. What does this mean? This design was popular because even when they were weaving fabric, they knew how to create textiles that did not have to necessarily look like this. They still chose willingly, voluntarily, to represent and recreate these tufted, scally/sleeved pattern because people were fond of it. It was trendy, it was fashionable, people liked it, and therefore we can see so many representations with the kaunaques. The earliest ones would be pure raw wool, whereas the later ones, much more in the Akkadian, Akkadian times, those would be textile imitating this pattern of the kaunaques. Now, the feet. There is also evidence from footwear, usually sandals made of leather, for the upper classes, of course. People that couldn't afford it, they were absolutely nothing. And that sounds uncomfortable, although I take that people did not walk on the cement and on the streets that we have today, but definitely sounds uncomfortable to be wearing nothing. Perhaps it is not. I haven't tried it myself. But of course, there was some jewelry and accessories, but we will get into that in the following period because there is plenty to show you. Just keep in mind that humans are coquettish by nature, and we love being well dressed and look sharp as a knife. This also happened on the Fertile Crescent, and then is when we move to the early dynastic period from 2900 to 2334. Precise, I know. This is the period from where we have the most examples, some of them widely known, so be prepared for a shower of images. And I was commenting on wool, and the looms from the early dynastic period, the clothes made there were as simple or as complicated as requested and required, based again on social status, wealth, and occasionally, as is sorry, Lulu June, I just kicked you with scratch you with my nails. Was saying based the complexity of the clothes would depend on the social status, wealth, and sometimes the people's profession. Thus, the poorer circles of society would wear simple, long woolen skirts without coloring in the shade the skin of the sheep provided. On the other hand, the higher collectives could afford to dye the clothes, although it seems that even the simplest of fabrics had decorative designs. And also, remember that the length of the kaunaques indicated the social position of the bearer. Thus, the lower classes and slaves would wear knee-length piece, while royalty and upper classes would use longer pieces, indicating they could afford a great quantity of wool down to the ankles. And now let's see those images. We have seen this one, and I wanted to show you, not this one, this one I really like, because we can also see that she's wearing a headpiece. We haven't commented on headpieces just yet, but they wear a thing. You can see the kaunaques down to the very ankle, meaning this woman is from royalty, or at least from the nobility. She can afford to buy this enormous amount of wool. She's wearing a headpiece or a headdress that brings all the head up together. I don't know if that is representing a ribbon or a tiara or a diadem. I am unsure. Maybe the braids and the hair is plaited. But you can see also here the shawl, the sheepskin shawl over one shoulder, just one shoulder, not the two of them. This is not a cape. This is more like a shawl. Sometimes I wear something like that. What else can I show you? Not this one, not yet. I show you this one. Well, I think I've spoiled all the images already for you. Oh yes, of course. We cannot forget accessories. We have galore. We have, for example, this. These are pendants. These are pendants that would hang from the clothes of the bearer, giving information about them. We have the sacred bull of heavens in the center with the beard and everything. We have the Anzu bird with the head of a lion, that one on the top right, apologies, top right. And this is made of there's two stones that are the most popular. Which ones? Hello, Millicent. You listening? Are you still at work? I'm so sorry about that, love, but I am sending you good vibes and energy. You can do this. You got this. And also beautiful images to make you happier in this winter evening. Hopefully you have a nice cozy drink by you. And if you don't, ask someone to bring you one and say hello to that someone for me. And these were made of two stones. There's bronze. The metal is bronze. And then the blue stone is lapis or lapis lazuli. I have no idea how to pronounce lapis lazuli in English. So I just say lapis because I choose my battles. And I know my limits. And the lapis is this indigo colored stone that was imported from India. And it was so bloody expensive. It was so costly that showing it off casually was a way of indicating you were very wealthy. The same we would do today with a very expensive pair of shoes, a very expensive coat, a very expensive bag or earrings. I'm pointing at mine because I'm wearing earrings, not because these are expensive. Salon, so how are you? And this would be hanging from either the headpieces, the clothes worn as a necklace, and the beautiful. And the other stone is that red. Do you see the red beads? This is carnelian. And carnelian was also a symbol for prowess, fertility, and social status. We have these beautiful gold carnelian and lapis ring. This is so beautiful. Like, fantastic. It is incredible how gorgeous this ring is. I would wear this, hands down. If someone gifted me this, I could even buy it myself. I would wear this. And also, I need to give you, stop fangirling for a moment. I need to give you a bit of information. We even preserve, hear me out, we preserve dog collars adorned with beads and name tags. I don't have them with me now. I remember I showed them at some point during my live streams, but we know the names of Mesopotamian dogs because we preserve the name. The nameplates. It's mind blowing. One of them, I don't think I could forget this even if I wanted willing to. One of them is the Expeller of Evil, and that's the name of the dog. How metal is that? I approve, the gene approve. And of course, among the best known examples of accessories, we have the pieces found at the Royal Cemetery of Ur, linked to the Dam Puabi and unearthed by Sir Leonard Woolley in 1922. And more beautiful necklaces. I did not bring the piece from Puabi because I thought, but for some reason it doesn't seem to be willing to charge it. Streamlabs, I think it's still the name of a Chihuahua. I hope that Expellet of Evil was indeed a Chihuahua. I need it to be a Chihuahua. Like, imagine these two dogs. One's a Chihuahua, and he is named Expellet of Evil, and then you have a Mastiff, big as a mountain, sturdy and rough, and you call him Cuddles, or Kisses, or Muzzy, or something like that. That's definitely how I would call my dogs. Yeah, the necklace, sorry. This beaded necklace is at the British Museum, and I would 100% wear this. And I can swear, I've seen something of the likes of this in stores. I could perfectly see this being sold today on Etsy, for example. This is something I would wear. This is something that's still fashionable. So again, gold, lapis, and carnelian. We have not invented shite. We are not as original as we think we are. Trust me. I mean, oh my god, now that I think about it, I believe that when I was either 12 or 13, I had a necklace so similar to this one. Not these big, it would have like 3 rows of beads, maybe 2. But definitely something of the sorts. This was beautiful. It's gorgeous. And we need to move on because I've been sitting here for an hour. and in our advancing, we've reached the Akkadian period, traditionally established to be from 2034 to 2218, before, again, Common Era. And this moment, this is where it was at, because these people put the word, fashion to very well use. People, the Akkadians, they knew. Oh, they knew. This is the empire under King Sargon. Or Sargon. I can't bring myself to call him Sargon, but if you want me to, I would. Sargon de Akkad. Sargon. This is the expansion of the empire under the command of Sargon of Akkad. People in the Akkadian times carried cylinder seals, like the ones we've seen previously, as a form of identification and to seal legal documents. And this was something that was pinned to one's robe or tunic, like the accessories we saw before. And also, men and women of the upper class favored brightly dyed fringed clothing, which, because of the time it took to make, was out of reach for the lower classes, of course. And one aspect of this was the bright colors. And I'm talking bright. That included purple, light green, red, like red, bloody red in the most literal ways possible. This vivid red carmine color, the indigo blue made from lapis, and vibrant yellow, all produced from natural elements, being minerals or the soil or plants and fibers. And the tunics and kaunakes were decorated with imagery of repeated patterns like zigzags, dots, stripes, or lines along the hem. Apparently the new hero of the newest release of Ubisoft's Prince of Persia is it's called Sargon. And yes, I know, but I am playing Prince of Persia in this. I mean, I'm playing at home, but if you want, I would stream Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, because it is incredible. And Serapis, I don't want to read about Iskandar because I know the trivia, and I know Iskandar. No puedo con él. I just can't even. Ay, Iskandar. So yeah, I am definitely playing Prince of Persia in this channel. When? Haha, I don't know, but I want to. There's so many people I know in that game. There's Anahita, there's Bahram, there's Simurg. por el amor de una madre, there is Simurg, and she is truthfully represented. This game is screaming my name. Intensito never left. That is the problem, that Intensito never left the chat. My patience did, though. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, among the examples of Akkadian times, I'm laughing. Among the examples of Akkadian times, we have the victory stele of Naransim. In my personal opinion, in my personal opinion, this is one of the pieces that scream art history 101. What I mean is that if there is one piece to extract from every period, this would be the one from the Mesopotamian section. I've seen these still in every single art handbook related to the Fertile Crescent, in all of my notes, in all of my courses, in all of the advertisements about the Fertile Crescent art, not history, but art. When you talk about Mesopotamian art, there's Naram-Sin. If you have been here around, you would be familiar with Darius the First, Darius the First from the Achaemenid dynasty. Naram-Sin is the equivalent to Darius, although not as magnificent in my absolutely biased opinion, but they would get along. Quite just fine, because they were so intense, both of them. They had massive egos, and they thought they were both blessed by the gods. Not without its reasoning. I mean, they had reasons to believe that. Still, humility left the chat with these two. Okay, so in here, we can perceive already a change, a difference regarding the Sumerian attire. Naram-Sin, on the screen at the moment, arrecho guapísimo here, is wearing a shorter kaunake than the Sumerian elite accustomed to. The clothes are similar, but now upper classes appear more fashionable. They are taking the clothes and giving them a twist, a change. Also, do you remember, if you were not here at the beginning of the stream, I will repeat this, but when I started, I mentioned in this picture of the Iraqi House of Fashion that there was a woman, and actually a woman and a man, wearing a headpiece with horns, because that is the crown for deities, the Lamassu, well, deities or at least creatures touched by the deity of the heavens, which is An or Anu, the sky, the deity of the skies. And the sons and daughters of the sky deity are the Anunnaki. And I know. We're not quoting, what's his name? Siskin? Oh no, I'm talking professionally here. I'm a professional. I know what I'm doing. These Anunnaki, these deities, offspring of the sky deity, would signal themselves with the sacred horns worn around their heads. In art, we have multiple representations of deities like Inanna, Utu/Shamash, Nana, Enlil, Enki, and all of them are wearing these horns, indicating they are descendants of the sky prime deity. And here, Naram-Sin, con todo su cuajo, full of himself, because I can't translate for you con todo su cuajo. There's just things, there's barriers, this is the reason why I don't consider myself to be bilingual, because I don't know the exact translation to con todo su cuajo in English. Like, full of himself, arrogantly, excited to meet himself, he places his representation, first of all, bigger than the rest, which was a tendency. I mean, this is not something he invited, it was done, but also with the Hamlet of the horns. I will get back to this, I promise. Because now I'm going to speak about something else. Actually, we can finish with that, talking about headpieces. Yes, headwear was of extended use, both for men and women. And Naransim here, he is wearing a helmet with horns. And despite that you could argue that this is battle gear, there's a note to make. The helmet and the decoration. I know this is war attire. It could be, the importance of himself. Oh, there's a little mosquito in here. Come here. Sorry, mosquito. A little mosquitilla. The mosquitilla has left. So these horns that he is wearing is emulating, is indicating, sorry, not indicating, is representing the crown of the deities, because he is presenting himself as a god. And not just a god, but as a son of the sky deity, which is An. So even if the piece is circumstantially justified, because it is a helmet and he is represented after a battle, there is a fashionable intention behind it. Another example could be the crowns worn by kings. There is an intention in here. And speaking of kings, what I'm going to show you is very special to me, since it is a direct offering to a person dear to my heart. Because you might not know this, but I do have a personal priestess myself. And the user Sacerdotisa, she's not here today, but I know she will see this. She's always by my side in this internet of things. And from the times of Sargon of Akkad, we can extract how women of nobility and royalty dressed by looking at the depiction of women. And there is no woman as famous as her. Enheduanna, the priestess of the moon god, the priestess of Nanna. You may have heard of her. She is considered to be the first author because in her position of power, she composed many hymns to Nanna, to Samash as well, to Utu Samash, the sun deity. And she is such an important figure. She's such a representative of what, not just the nobility, but the priest, the clerical circles would be like. She wears, as you can see here, the ankle-length dress in always. Cheers for Sacerdotisa. Cheers. Boom. Oh, this is so nice. She was an ankle-length dress and in descending layers, and she's also wearing a headpiece, perhaps made of metal. There is another piece. It's a female statuette, although it is not Enheduanna in the sense that we don't know who. The mosquitilla is back. Señora. She's not in Enheduanna, and I'll explain myself. We don't know. It's just a statuette of a woman. And if you see that perforation on the side of her head, is because that is super tiny. Like the piece is super, super little, like this size. And these will be worn around the neck with either a rope or a lace or a ribbon, and as a necklace. And why do I say that she's not Enheduanna? Because we don't know. This is unidentified. This is not with the context necessary in order to for us to affirm that this was indeed Enheduanna. But definitely she is a woman of the upper levels of society. The dress, the fringe plated dress is the same one. You can see in here the headpiece that she's wearing. I don't know if that is her hair. It could be a plait, it could be a braid, or it could be, again, a crown, a tiara, or something along the line. She's holding a cup. She's making an offering. And also we can see the hair is worn long and braided, possibly beautifully, because I have an admiration for people that can just plait. I think is incredible. And also, speaking of headpieces, we have this very famous bronze head of Sargon of Akkad. And I know the detail on it is impressive. Everything about these pieces is incredible and interesting. However, I wanted to show you the upper part of the head, because we don't know if that band is made of metal or is it made of fabric. but the upper notches that he has, I don't know if these are fabric as well, like textile, cuffed somehow, or cushioned like, to make volume, or if this is just his hair. Because I know that people used to wear wigs. So it could be a wig, artificial hair to mimic this illusion of braids that surround the base of the cranium. I have no idea. Like, not the base of the cranium, sorry, the front of the cranium. I have no idea what could this be. People assume that it is hair, all of it, except for the band. What if it was not? What if this is a hat? Or this is something different? I don't know. Anyhow, it's super interesting for me. Because I never thought about these things. Ever. And regarding accessories, jewelry was yet again of extended use, and among the most popular elements were lapis and carnelian again. And gems do not only belong in jewelry. There is also evidence of them being sewn to footwear and headdresses, clothes, and so on. And a distinctive accessory of priests was the skin of a goat. Goats were considered sacred animals, and priests would normally carry a shawl or wrap made of this skin on the shoulder, typically in Salam Eric, how are you? Typically like this one would do, like back in the Sumerian times. This is a Sumerian statuette, and this is something that the priest would still do, just cover one shoulder with a piece of fabric that was made of goat skin because it was considered sacred. And I know this is not. I know this is not. Oh, I wanted to show you where is Oh, but this is something about. Okay, so the last bit I'm going to cover a bit quicker because we've been here together. I'm very comfortable here sitting with you, but unfortunately I could go about this for hours, and you guys have things to do. So we are going to talk jointly about Babylonia and Assyria, because all the trends carried, along many more, carried onto Babylonian culture, and care of the coiffure was very important for men and women among both the Assyrians and the Babylonians. The hair was grown long and carefully curled and ringleted, if needed, with wigs and false hair. For example, let me show you. These reliefs that I'm showing is from the Palace of Ashurbanipal in Nineveh. These are currently kept at the British Museum, and they are exquisite. I don't have much positive to say about Ashurbanipal because he was a bit of a desgraciado, but the art, the finesse, the detail, the quality, the care, the preciousness of this. Every time I used to visit the British Museum, and for a period in my life I did quite often, I would just get lost observing this because these are incredible. Yes, the muscles in the lion, in the servant, in the king. I also made ages ago a stream about the Royal Lion Hunt. You can find that on YouTube and on Twitch. And as you can see, both the beard and the hair are ringleted and circled. I wanted to show you one. There you go. I think this one is they are incredible. Yes, indeed. And to take care of the hair, perfumes and oils and black dye were used because they liked dark curly hair. I wish I had this type of hair. I have a curly hair, but definitely not this one. And as you can see, beards were grown long and curled, and a band of metal or fabric encircled the brow, or a woolen felt or leather cap shaped around the head, like this one the king is wearing here. You cannot see because it's cut. And the jewelry, this takes off absurdly. Let's just observe because the king in here is wearing a pair of earrings that I am very jealous about. I used to have a pair of earrings like these ones and I loved them, but I lost them moving countries. And that is something that slightly upsets me. But also he is wearing an armband, which is amazing. And in these reliefs, you can, thank you, Cerros, for sharing the video. And in these reliefs, you can really see how the fabric is patterned and shows different different motifs, indicating that the textiles were dyed and sewn and woven to look differently. This picture, can we count the amount of accessories the king is wearing? 2 armbands, 1 bracelet, the sort of crown / tiara around his forehead, the earrings, of course, the rings, and we're not starting on the horse trappings because we could be here until tomorrow. And it's just incredibly beautiful, everything about this. And it's not just beauty for beauty, which is the thing. This is not just gorgeous. It is. This is just interesting because it's given so much information about patterns, about fabrics, about the importance of clothing. And this, by the way, is the 7th century. Dorud Arashkhui. How was the way of asking about the hell? Hale shoma khube? Is that the way you say it? My Persian's broken. Are you okay? You're good? Basically, you're good? So these reliefs, art is again a source, a very enriching source from which we can learn so many things. And this is a moment in which I'm very proud to be an art historian, because these sources are not just wonderful. Oh, it is. Thank you. Ma'am Nunam. These reliefs are not just a delight to contemplate because we don't value art because of its subjective beauty. They are packed filled to the brim with information. And regarding clothing, this is something I overlooked during so many years because I was not paying attention. However, as I started to compose this script and as I started to research about this topic, I discovered more and more, because we haven't delved into it, but the textile industry was of such importance in the Fertile Crescent. I want to talk about that separately because it really was moving the economy. The owners of the looms were the ones with the, cashing. It's incredible how influential all these things were. And of course, there's also the subject of fashion and the playing with the clothes, how the Assyrians took it, the Akkadians, they took it up a notch, and then the Assyrians and the Babylonians stepped up and said, hey, have you seen this? How cool I look. And I wanted to show you this representation of King Ashurbanipal according to, this is from a game called Old World. And I will zoom it for you to see, because unfortunately, by the way, these reliefs were pigmented. They were painted, but unfortunately, pigment does not do well with the passing of time. Therefore, observing these art pieces discolored creates this false impression that every single person in the past looked like this. Sand color, orange filter. And no, I mentioned that the Assyrians and the Babylonians, because they were imitating the Akkadians, they loved brilliant colors. And in the Old World video game, they made this reconstruction of Ashurbanipal, and this is an artistic impression. And even if I don't know exactly if he would wear this combination of colors, I think it's important to see that the color is ever present. For example, pay attention to the skirt. The skirt in here, we have vivid green, the yellow fringe, red and blue in the bands. And then if we take it up and we zoom in, because I'm going to zoom, we have, oh, by the way, the sword, this is a nerdy fact. Bear with me. The sword that you have in the screen is actually a dag from Sumer, and it's super famous piece because it's all made in gold. And you can also see it in the Marvel's Eternals film, as the Eternals give this weapon to humanity to survive in the very early stages of civilization when they are in Babylon. And it's not an Assyrian sword, but I just thought it was cute, to make this kind of like Easter egg for us nerdy people. And you can see how his beard is decorated, and the armbands and bracelets and earrings and the headpiece. Everything is vivid and brilliantly colored. And I love that there is this kind of representation, because yet again, and Plumas, how do we know he was wearing the exact combination of colors? We don't. We have no idea. We could know if some studies were done to the reliefs, and possibly there were. It's just I'm not aware of the colors. Do you remember a major exhibition that took place in the British Museum during 2019 that was called I, King of the World, and it was about Assurbanipal? There they showed the reliefs coated. There was a projection of the reliefs, and on top of it they would just project these colors, this layer of color. And it would show how the pigments would be originally, like what the people would be wearing. Red was definitely there. Blue was definitely there. I don't remember green, but I'm positive it was also there because it's beautiful. And I think that is, I love that we have this modern representation, and we're going to finish exactly as we started, with the people from the lovely Iraqi House of Fashion. And I think this is all I wanted to talk about today, Bacha, and I hope you've enjoyed it. Now is the moment for questions, should you have one, and if not, it's quite okay. In the meantime, allow me to remind you that I lost my train of thought. Allow me to